Yo, social media. How's it going? Come on. How's it going? So I'm jumping on here. It is, sorry, I just put this in my holder. Wellness Wednesday. Of course. This is going to be about kind of like social anxiety, right? Because I've been talking to some people recently about being around people and it just kind of getting weird after COVID. So if you don't know my story, I was prior military, I was a police officer, I worked undercover, I was a drunk, got sober, and now I'm 4+ years into sobriety and just starting to get things down. So maybe I share this and you're like, dude, I've known that forever. But being an interventionist and talking to people who are struggling, I realize there's this common denominator. And on Wellness Wednesday, sometimes I want to share that. This common denominator is social anxiety. Like everybody has it. I still have it. Even doing this video, I'm like, this is what I thought of. I got to do it. And I don't think twice. So, and there are a lot of videos I don't share either because all of a sudden I get insecure at the end and I delete them. It's the same reason I don't do lives often. So I'm still eating my own cooking, but the social anxiety part of being out in public, there's a couple different parts, right? I used to work undercover. I went to training that taught me how to be undercover. And one of the biggest tips that I learned in that world was everybody is so involved in their own world, people are barely paying attention to other people. Like if you knew the amount of energy that is paying attention to you, you would probably be at ease because you wouldn't be so nervous. So when people are in public places, right? If I have people who are, just starting to get sober and now they got to go be around people, remember, the isolating part of what they were doing is when you start getting in your head. And the worst prison, and if you ask me, hell on earth is the emotional prison. Hold on a second. Tesla, fui that! Is the emotional prison we're in rather than reality, right? So if you know, because Justin said so and some people at his school said so, if you know that most people are so into their own world, that if you, when you're out in public, start understanding that. And if you're talking to somebody, get outside of yourself, okay? So the recovery community, there's some steps, right? Some basic principles that we apply to everything in our life. Sorry about my dog. And the 12th step is about helping the newcomer, helping the person you used to be, right? Or if you're at the very beginning of your journey, even talking to somebody who's in the exact same spot in the race of life, you guys can share your journey along the way, and that community that you build gives you the momentum to continue, right? So remember, back in the day, we're tribal. Nobody was just sitting in a field by themselves sad, right? Everybody was doing work, working together, or if they were doing work, the work that they were doing was helping the community, no matter what it is. And so there are people who are running around without purpose, right? And I'm not here to tell you what your purpose is. And I'm not a doctor, so if this doesn't hit right with you, I apologize. But I'm just sharing the things that have worked for me, because when I'm around people, if I just think in my head about them, how do I make them feel comfortable? How do I become a person that they'll lean on if they need help? How do I get their trust? Because as an interventionist, I have to talk people to go into rehab, right? And all I do in that is I share my story about how rehab saved my life, that I probably wouldn't be here if I didn't go take care of my stuff. And I didn't go there voluntarily. And so I believe out in the real life world, if I create the person I want to be, the one I'm not embarrassed about when I'm at home by myself, and try to be the same person in my private life as I am in my public life, when I'm out with people, the social anxiety isn't as bad. It's not perfect. I still get anxiety. We go somewhere and I know there's going to be a bunch of people. I'm like, what? But I have found now that when I get into that circumstance, right, when I get out of the car or show up to one of my kids' birthday parties, it's like, I'm the same person. And it's much, much easier. So, social anxiety, think outside of yourself, right? And that'll work. But to really solidify it, to really believe it and do it, you got to have a purpose. You have to be working on something bigger than yourself, whether it's your own personal journey, whether it's putting your one foot into maybe some personal development, or just finding a way to be of service in a way. And that might sound crazy, but when you start thinking of other people, you think outside of yourself and you don't have that crazy, weird anxiety, that pit. Like my anxiety feels like I'm literally at the top of a roller coaster and going down, like that physical feeling in your stomach. That's what mine feels like. And so if this tip can help you minimize that, that would be awesome. I appreciate you watching. I hope you have an amazing Wednesday. And yeah, have a good one. Peace.